Right guys, welcome back to the Regal Gentleman YouTube channel, The Hunter Collective. Today we've got Josh in the chair. How are you, Josh?
Good, thank you.
You okay?
Yeah.
Good, so tell me what are you thinking? What do you want to do?
Okay, so I'm thinking want to keep most length on top.
Okay.
Maybe like thin it out quite a bit because it's quite thick at the moment. But have like maybe grade 3 back and sides undercuts.
So when you want the disconnection, what is your idea of the finished look? Do you want it to be like a 90s kind of curtains where it's going to sit in heavy on the bowl head kind of thing? Is that the look you're trying to achieve? Or?
Yes, that's exactly sort of thing I'm looking for, yeah.
I personally think we should make it look a bit more 2020. I know it's been a terrible year, but the new decade of that kind of style. And you want to leave most of the length?
Yes, on top, yeah.
On top, okay.
I've got sort of reference photos.
Do you know what, that'd be good, yeah? Because I don't think you're going to really see the undercut because your hair's that long.
This sort of thing.
So honestly, I think if I was you, more than just doing the shaved look and then hanging it over, if you look at where the length is, you could still have the undercut, but have some sort of blend through here. Yeah. So more than just doing a 3 and leaving it as a wedge and then having it hanging over, I just feel it's a huge waste.
Okay.
What you've got, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not the biggest of fans of them. Just because I just don't think there's anything to it. You know, it's literally as simple as like you can go and get your mate to do it. Like it's literally that simple for that, especially the one you showed me there.
Yeah.
So if we could do something that was a little bit more, you know, take that as a reference and then try and build on it and still have that kind of 90s vibe, but with a bit more of a twist and a bit more of an edge to the haircut.
Yeah,
I think it'd be quite nice.
Yeah, okay.
To be honest, all right. We could still have an undercut, but we could have it more connected through the back and then getting gradually longer through the front. Because it'd still have that 90s vibe, but then you wouldn't be limited to like one haircut. You could actually mix it up a little bit, you know, and bring that texture out and things like that as well, which I think would be really nice. So what I thought we could do is take that reference of that kind of real kind of bowl cut, as we used to call it, and just make it a bit more modern. And I think the education we've got now and the different skill sets as barbers we've got now, I think we can take something like that, which is fairly basic, and make it a bit better. That's what I think. And no disrespect to the picture, the haircut that was done. It's just that I think we can do a bit better and a bit more modern, and also give Josh a bit of free rein with his hair as well. Maybe trying to, you know, if he wants to bring it over to one side, let him have a little bit of flick on the side with the curls. He's kind of got a little bit of bend he's got coming through. We could kind of emphasize that a bit more. So let's give it a shampoo and condition, and then we'll get started. So guys, I've just shampooed and conditioned Josh's hair. Now, as I was shampooing it, and as I was working through the front, I was picking it up to see how long it was, and I noticed that the front was shorter than the middle, as you can see. So I know this is a common problem when someone wants to leave the top, right? So if you had a haircut in the past and say it hasn't been balanced, or you've had a different type of style, maybe you had like a short crop fringe and you've got longer through the apex here, then you want to leave all the length. But when it comes to that difference, we will have to take some off the top, all right? But I'll still maintain as much of the hair as I possibly can. So what we'll do when it comes to the top is we'll work from the shortest point and then match it all up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate the top to the back and sides, because essentially we want to leave all of the top. And we're looking to go for that 90s vibe, undercut, but with a slight twist. And again, if you're not wearing a product, like Josh was just saying as well, he doesn't normally use styling products, so he's asking what product could he use in place of that. So I was just talking about aftercare, so like leave-in conditioners, oils, a bit of salt spray if he wants to go for that bit more kind of drier texture look. So all them 3 products will change slightly the texture of Josh's hair, so it will give him a different look each time. To the recession point. How old are you, Josh? You don't mind me asking?
19.
19, okay. So as you can see, when you're working on quite a sort of youthful hairline, you almost have to pick the recession point, which is a great gift you've got there, Josh, to be honest with me. So I wouldn't, it's not a negative. There we go. So I found the horseshoe that I'm looking for. So I'm looking to separate the top to the back and sides. Now this is where we'll be able to see the true top and the true back and sides. That's why I like to do it. So moving on to my Osters, I'm going to remove all the bulk and all the length, just so we can work down to R3. So just working from just below the temple, pick it up. I'm going to leave a good bit of length in there so we can almost start again like a blank canvas when it comes to the number 3. Where's the inspiration come from? You mentioned movies before.
Yeah.
What films have you seen this kind of styling, this kind of like look coming back?
Well, it's like obviously like old films, so recently like stuff like Titanic.
Oh yeah.
That Leonardo DiCaprio, Johnny Depp.
Yeah, that's that kind of look. Yeah. They are classic looks though, aren't they? Especially the the DiCaprio kind of 90s haircut. That's, yeah, classic really. It's a nice haircut. It's when it's got that, like when you got the right hair for it and it falls right and everything, it's just, it can be done so well. It really can. I mean, when I had it, it was pretty awful because my hair is so straight, it didn't really work, you know.
Yeah.
But we still had it because I had to, because that was all my mates had, so you know, I had to go for it as well.
Yeah.
That kind of DiCaprio look, I think was awesome. And I think in my mind, I've got more of that kind of look for you. You know, that kind of more, say less harsh in a sense, you know? So what I was thinking we could do is, we'll still do the 3 and we'll still have it quite short. So you've got that similar look to what you showed me. Yeah. But if we get the 3 lower and add some sort of graduation there, as the hair fell, and maybe we cut to maybe the ears or something, as the hair brushed back and fell, you'd have a little bit of this length being able to come back with it. But you still have the harshness of the 3. And I think that would suit you a lot more. I think that'll work a lot more with this haircut. So I'm just drying that off there just to see how it kind of falls. So I'm noticing it just will sit back a little bit as well. So I think the fact that will sit back a bit will kind of give us a little bit more free reign, I think, when it comes to having that kind of disconnection, but some connection in there as well. So starting with our 3, gonna work quite low with the 3. Probably work it to about here to give myself a nice bit of room to blend, but also to leave some length. So remember what I want to do is I want to give that kind of shorter finish to the bottom where the hair can sit on top of. So you still see the sharpness of the clipper work, but then the kind of long flow with the top as well. Low around the ear. So I'm just going to work into a nice low taper. I think the whole point of this haircut is to have the undercut with this kind of number 3. So I think with the neckline, my take on this, I'm just going to do quite a soft, natural taper. So nothing too crazy. Obviously, I want to get rid of all the kind of sparseness here to make it strengthen up a bit. So still be working on quite a low taper in terms of going down to 0. But that'll just be what we do on a very classic haircut. So I'm working on to my 2.5, working up and off to where my 3 finishes. Then on to my number 2. Again, as you can see, I'm following the way the hair grows to remove the bulk. You can also turn it around as well. Just cap off any of them hairs. So lever open, 1.5 guard on. And just as I'm getting closer to the nape down here, so close to the actual perimeter of the hairline, I'm bringing the taper lower down as well. So my 2.5 finished here, my 2 finished here, my 1.5 going to finish here now. This is more like a 1.75, you want to call it that. So we're basically the 1.5 guard with the lever down. I'm working a little bit lower down again. So one guard on, lever down, lever open. Just working up to where our closed 1.5 guard finished as well. And into the closed guard. There we go. Using the 0, so using the lever closed, I'm going to create a line for symmetry. As you can see, it's still got a bit of hair coming through here. It's quite sparse here, so I think my line's going to go about there. I'm just going to work it up and off because that's where I'm still going to be working on the taper. Like so. I'm going to work up and off again, just to start to finish. Turn it around as well, just work down. Pop up any of them little longer hairs too. So work through the lever now, just till we get down to our 0. Remove that line. If I was to taper to here, can you imagine how long the neck would be if it was down to the collar? Whereas if we lift it up to here, it's a lot more fitting with the features as well. Give a blend to this haircut now as well, so the 3 into the top. From the occipital bone at the back, because I don't want to expose that too much because it'll flatten the crown. So I'm going to work up and off to that point there, just under the occipital bone. Just working right down to my taper and working up and off. Work a bit higher up now. I'm just working over as well. Josh's hair's got the tendency to kind of be quite straight and stick out, so I'm using that just to give a bit more of a seamless finish into the 3. I'm not going to cut into the hairline at all for this one. Again, we're keeping it quite loose, quite rough. It's always quite a nice finish as well. Just giving a little bit of structure to the hairline. And I'm just going to use a little bit of clipper over comb just to shorten it down a touch. I've got my my bigger scissors now, and I'm going to use this just to work over my scissors over comb. As you see, the length of the scissors cover a wide surface area. I love using these scissors. I've been using them for a while. I use that just to make sure everything is nice and symmetric. That sits really nicely over that 3. So that is proper 90s right now.
Yeah.
It would be really nice just to connect the back in a touch. I want to give it a real true 90s feel to it as well, you know what I mean? Like what we've been talking about, the DiCaprio kind of finish, so it was just split a little bit here, it sort of falls back like that as well, you know what I mean? So we want to balance through here. So mainly, the main focus is mainly the fringe and just get a bit shorter towards the back, but you essentially just leave it longer to the front. I do a nice centre part like that, right? And I want to bring this down to or acceptable on this how I want to connect it. So I'm not going to pull it out like so. I'm going to pull it down right to where I want it to finish. And I'll point cut into it as well. That's better. You see that sits nicely there. I'm going to layer it all back, okay? And as I pick up the section, there's the guide. I'm feeling for it. I'm just pointing cutting into it as well. So we're going to have quite a jagged finish to this. Guide and guide through the hair as well. Lift it up just with the scissors. I'm just going to slide through a little bit, only a few little bits, just to break up the kind of chunkiness at the bottom there. Slightly wider section now. So what you're getting now, you just have to lay that out. We're getting that 90s vibe. We'll slide into the ends like that to give that a bit more straighter finish. Because again, you know, we're going for the 90s vibe, but I still want to have a bit of a modern touch to it as well. So I don't want it to be too blocky and too perfect as it sits down. I want a little bit of texture in there. Do a nice wide section now on a, probably at my age would be the recession point. On Josh, nowhere near the recession point yet. So not much is coming off now. Section, shouldn't be anything comes off here. No, nothing's coming off there. Off centre. Now the reason why we do off centre, I don't want to cut you in a centre part. So I encourage everything to come from the centre part. It will fall too heavy in the centre part, okay? Like so. I want to take a little bit of length off this just to give it a bit more versatility. That sits really 90s. There we go. Now to make it a bit more 2020, or let's say 2021 because it hasn't been a good year this year. Yeah. We'll never refer to 2020 as a good year. Gonna add a little bit of razor work in there. So I'm gonna take a section and just working off the middle, maybe a bit below the middle, and then wearing that down to my finger. What it's doing is really breaking up the undercut, so we're still keeping the same shape. We're getting a much more messier finish to it. So as he wears it, so he wants to work going back, he's got a little bit more shape. And you get little bits falling through like that. So these little short bits will fall through. Then we'll do a section from just past the centre. There's a guide underneath. The razor again, just from below halfway, and just wear it down to really break that up. So that's nice. He brings it back as well, like that. Holds itself in place in a bit of water. If he wants to wear it a bit scrunched, all that texture from the razor will come out and create a bit more of a scrunchier texture, like so. Two section. Set the razor to it. One section just past as well. Now the final thing I'm going to do is work through the top now. I'm going to use the razor for this, so I want to have a really serrated finish to this. There's a lot of length there. We've done through the sides. Let's add a little bit through the back as well. Like we said, we've done what Josh has asked. We've kept all the length, or as much as the length as we could on the top. Balanced it, made it a bit more up to date, a bit more like a sort of a refresh on, or a bit of a twist on DiCaprio's, twist on what the picture just showed me as well. Working quite high up towards the end. And working across as well. So I want this to fall in loads of different ways for him. Again, not in the centre part, just off the centre. Now what I'll do is I'll dry it off for you and I'll show you how it sits, all right? With salt spray, just so you can see what it's like, all right? Don't have to wear anything else in it if you don't want to. I want to show you what the haircut's done, because again, it's about the haircut, right? Yeah. The salt spray will just give you a little bit of something else. So I'm just going to use my fingers to dry this, all right? Very, very simple. Just drying it throughout. High speed, high heat. To dry from side to side, like so. You dry it more ways, okay? So you're drying it against the way it wants to kind of kick back at you. So kind of maybe it wants to split on one side, we're trying to fight that. I'm just going to start to bring this up off your face. Remember, just a salt spray in this, okay? Just drying it loads of different ways. Finish with a bit of cold air. Now, it's all down to how you want to style it. Let's just bring it a bit off centre. Bring this a bit back. Like a sort of zigzag pattern kind of thing. Definitely wear it off your face though. Yeah. Definitely wear it off your face. You've got such a strong hairline. Yeah. I was talking to someone about autumn winter trends yesterday. Yeah. We were talking about what do we think it's going to be, and I don't know whether it's too early for the kind of 90s revival just yet. I'm seeing a lot of 90s revivals, but I think maybe it might be a little bit early this year for that. Yeah. But I think definitely it's that looser finish of hair. You know, I don't think people are wearing it too slick and too styled. How's that?
Yeah, it's great.
Happy, yeah? Yeah. Thanks, man. It looks wicked. Really cool one to do that. So just to recap, we went for that kind of like undercut 90s Leo vibe, kind of you know, that kind of what a lot of us kids had in the 90s. Kind of like, I wouldn't say it was as drastic as the bowl cut, but it's a variation of, that's where it kind of stemmed from, right? But I just thought with Josh today, he's got wicked hair, and I think it would be a shame just to do that. So I thought we could do something that was going to still have a bit of shape when you look straight on. It's going to have some shape through the back as well, without it just being kind of sitting heavy, blunt all the way around, and then really scalp exposure on the back and sides. So we went for a 3 back and sides. We still had a blend of the 3 into the round of the head, the corner here. Then we tapered the neck out nice and tight, just a very natural taper. A few options when it comes to styling. If he doesn't want to wear anything in his hair, you can just have it real 90s, real curtains kind of look. If you want to add a bit of product, you can really change it around a little bit, have it a bit more higher, a bit more looser, go with more of what we're seeing a bit on trend as well. So yeah, I think it's wicked, mate. I love it. It looks great. Thanks so much. I'm really pleased how it come out. There we go, mate. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
You're very welcome, mate.